Welcome, everybody, to another Writers and We podcast. I know it's been like...
The only show where the two hosts never get enough sleep.
Are we really the only show?
Oh, there we go. I did it. That was the one I wanted to use last week.
Oh, I see. Okay. I know it's been like... God, it's been like 3 weeks since our last one.
I don't think that's true.
I like our other intro from the week before, where we were like, the only Friday podcast that you'll find on Saturday.
The only Friday night podcast that streams on Saturdays.
Yes.
Where the two hosts never get enough sleep.
Oh, man.
Is that too long? It might be too long.
That might be a little too long. Who knows? All I know is that it's definitely correct in that I did not get enough sleep. Because somebody kept me awake in the Discord channel till 1 a.m.
Okay, first of all, I was off at 1 a.m., all right? And that was midnight for you. You stayed up that other hour on your own, all right?
This is true.
You're the goof butt who stayed up until 1 a.m. You could have saved yourself the hassle and just gone to bed, but no.
Sleep is for the weak! At least that's what...
fucking Wimdy.
At least that's what Twitter keeps telling me, but I should never listen to them.
Yeah, don't ever listen to Twitter.
Yeah. So, for this week's topic, just to clarify, this week our topic is brought to you by Star. This is hers.
That me.
Yes, that is indeed her. Oh, right, I'm FGRolls. Hi.
Hi, I'm Stally120.
Let's talk for 5 minutes before we actually do a fucking introduction.
Yeah, this is Fox talk for 30 minutes before starting the stream gaming.
Yes. You got a problem with that?
No.
I feel like you have a problem with that. Oh, only sometimes. Okay.
Only sometimes.
Uh-huh. In any case, so like I said, this week's topic is brought to you by Star. This one really is going to be mostly her, because I am lazy and I didn't do enough research to really come up with questions or shit, and she's got a lot of stuff she really wants to bring into it, so I'll only really chime in when I feel like I need to, and with a few anecdotes or stories.
Yeah, well, we can bounce off each other. That's what we do.
We can?
Yes, that is what we do.
You sure about that?
Sometimes. So today we're talking about animals and how they are misunderstood by humans, or the most misunderstood animals by humans. Something about animals and being treated shittily by people because people don't know how to treat animals right.
The 3 weeks is really messing with your memory there, huh?
Yeah. I pitched it to you when my internet was out.
Yeah.
So that was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. It's been a while.
It has indeed been a while.
Yeah, so I was thinking of what to do for the topic, and as many of you know, only like 3 people here, because there's the 2 people who are talking in chat and Fox. As you know, I own a snake. I own a pet snake. And I love him so much. So whilst I was thinking of a podcast topic, I was looking at my baby and remembering a shit ton of sad stories I've been hearing about snakes recently, and I went, oh, let's go with the most misunderstood animals. Like animals that are the most misunderstood by people, because like I think it's important to know like that some animals aren't going to hurt you.
Literally, like I can't think of an animal that just outright is like, I see a guy. Let me go attack him.
Kangaroos.
Okay, maybe a kangaroo.
Maybe.
But usually it's like, as much as there are horror stories by people getting attacked by animals and stuff, it's like, it's usually just because you've done something that you didn't realize was like a bad idea. Like stepping into their into their nesting area or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or just coming anywhere near them. It's like, they're like, what the fuck are you?
Like, so I'm gonna start this off with snakes because that's what I was thinking about when I mm, uh pitched the topic because of my baby boy.
Yeet.
Um, snakes are not out to get you. This is a fucking hot take, I know, but snakes are literally just trying to live their lives, all right? My little guy has never bitten me once, all right? I have more scars from my cat than I do my snake, all right? And that's saying something. And I don't even have a lot of scars from my cat, despite the fact that I fucking pick her up and give her smooches on the daily, you know?
Okay, this is
Like,
gonna sound really stupid. Is Monty the type of snake that bites?
he has never bitten.
No, I mean like just bites in general, not like biting you. Because
He
you know,
only
like,
bites.
because you
He
know,
only
like some
bites when
snakes
I'm
don't
shoving.
have they don't have fangs because they can like they choke.
Oh, he's a constrictor, right?
Okay,
Um, but he lunges for his food to grab it and then
yeah.
constrict it, right?
So it's
That's
like
how they do it.
he wouldn't bite anyone anyways. So
So it's
probably.
like So it's like if he bites me, he's gonna try to constrict, but he's never done that.
Yeah.
Um, because he has like a pea-sized brain. He knows the difference between me and food,
Mm-hmm.
I should hope. I mean, sometimes when I open up his cage, he slides out and he looks all excited like he's gonna get food. And I say, "No, you're
Yeah.
not getting food." And I flick some water in his face and he goes, "Ee!" But
I
like, that's not because he thinks I'm food, it's because he's very food motivated, right?
yeah, that's fair.
And like sometimes he goes off feed, but like once he goes back onto feed, he's like very, very good.
Akechi does not
Catchy just
strike. He gently bites his food like a little gentleman.
Aw, Akechi being a gentleman. That is true. He hisses at it first and then he eats it. At least he used to with me. I
Actual
would put it down.
translation of Akechi's hisses is, I am going to eviscerate you, small creature.
Yeah, that is exactly it. Right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's all dependent on the snake, right? Like some snakes will try to bite you, but that's again
Yeah.
because they're food motivated is what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's not scared of his mousies. Oh, good for him. Um, like Akechi is a hognose, and this comes from defense mechanisms. When they're scared or mad, mostly mad, they look so mad when they're flattening. They're so funny.
Yeah.
They will strike at you and make a loud hissing noise, but in reality, they're not actually going to bite you because it's a bluff.
Yeah.
So, um, when yeah, like you'll get something like and they all have like different defense mechanisms that they will pull out before resorting to biting. Like biting is a
Mm-hmm.
last resort. Like snakes, like biting is a last resort if you're infringing on their territory. Like
Yeah. They'll
like
mostly just like, they'll raise their
rattlers have
head
their
to appear bigger.
yeah, that's yeah, cobras do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rattlers have their rattles. Cottonmouths have their white mouth that says, "Hey, go away. I'm highly venomous."
Yep.
It's like if you see a snake coming at you, odds are it's just trying to get away. Like
Uh-huh.
it's not gonna hurt you
It's probably
unless
just
you're like
traveling, so it's like if you just
yeah,
like step
exactly.
around it, it might leave you alone.
Yeah, like unless you're actively trying to pester it, then yeah, you deserve to get bit.
And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna circumvent the people who are gonna like, if somebody comments and it's been like, well, I didn't do nothing and I got bit by a snake, I'm like, you probably did something. I'm gonna go ahead and clarify. I have been in
Stepping on
plenty.
a snake does not mean nothing, okay?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like I'm gonna like here's the thing. I work in oh my god, I cannot English today. I work in lawn service, aka I cut yards. Do you know how many snakes I see every fucking year?
just like pick them up, move them, give them a pat on the head, and continue on with your day.
I don't even do that. But it's like I have encountered so many snakes, and the thing is that if I come near them, they will either sit completely still until I go
Hmm.
past them, or they'll just slither
Yeah.
away. And if someone's like, "Oh, you must
Um,
have been far enough away from it," dude. Here's the story that of one time that I fucking jumped away just because I didn't see it happening, and it scared the shit out of me. Was I was mowing a yard and I noticed because this was back when I was wearing like blue shoes with these black and blue shoelaces,
hmm.
and I saw it just stretched out across the lawn. At least that's what I thought it was. So I reached down to go and tie my shoe, and I realized, wait a minute, my shoe is perfectly tied. So what is that right next to my foot?
Oh,
It was
was
a
it a
snake.
wait? Blue and black? That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was like I think the body was black and it had kind of like blue stripage.
Oh, I
I think
think
there was
oh yeah.
I think
It's
there was
like
also
a
yellow stripage or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a garter, I think.
Yeah. And it just
Blue garter.
kind of sat like next to my foot when I was reaching down, and it didn't move until I jumped, and it just slithered away.
Yeah. Oh, garters are sweetie pies. Here.
Okay.
This is the one I was thinking of.
You know, you could just send it in the or in the chat.
I could do that, but it's easier to just copy the image and send it to you on Discord.
That's fair. All right, let me see. Gonna go ahead and just open this and show everybody.
Now, garters, their defense mechanism is like, and hogs do this too. It's called musking. It's like peeing on you, but like it's like a special kind of pee, right? And it's gross.
Gross.
So they do that, so you get grossed out and drop them. So when you said like a blue and black snake, that's what I was thinking of,
Yeah.
those types of garters.
So not this.
Not that exactly.
No, I am just saying this is not the snake that I saw.
Okay.
Because it was like a dark head, with yellow stripage.
Okay.
But now I'm
I don't know.
curious.
I'd have to see a picture to like
Yeah.
be able to identify it, but yeah, most of the time they won't go out of their way to attack you unless you're like deliberately pissing them off, like even if you don't know it, right?
Yeah. Okay,
If
I found it.
you Oh, you found it. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's just another garter. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you said like I was thinking of the blue ones, but yeah, that's just a common garter then.
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of people think that they're called garden snakes. But they're not. They're garter snakes. Fun fact about them is that they live communally, which means that if you're keeping one, you have to keep a couple of them together because they'll get lonely. And
Ooh.
they're one of the few species of snake that give live birth.
Oh, that's really cool.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of how snakes are depicted in media? I hate it.
Ooh, I
hate it.
love that question because I
hate it
figured we would talk about that today anyways.
Because snakes are like any other living creature, literally just trying to, go about their business. Like they're just trying to
Mhm.
exist. And the like media depicts them in a villainous way where all snakes are evil, like, oh, snakes on the plane, oh, Indiana Jones, why does it have to be snakes? Like, but like not all snakes are like that. Like my son, if I boop him on the noggin, if I get up too quickly, he'll curl up into a ball because I scared him. You know?
Mhm.
Like fucking baby hognoses play dead if you pester them too much. Like
Yep.
like snakes are goofy little guys.
And I think
Like
this is true for like any creature that like people don't understand or just
mhm,
generally have developed like strong fears of, like snakes,
yes,
spiders,
snakes,
sharks.
spiders, sharks.
Those poor
Um
sharks.
poor sharks, honestly, they're just like goofy little guys. Like,
Yeah, like if it's a
um,
movie about the three we just mentioned, it's like they're always like these big ferocious predators.
there's a huge, huge, like market for jumping spiders as pets. I would
Mm-hmm.
never keep one, right?
No.
Because I'm I'm not too big on spiders as pets, but like
Ugh.
people love jumping spiders, and
Yeah.
it's like this is good, you know. People are starting to accept spiders, another more commonly venomous animal, and like you know, like they're starting to like understand that not all spiders are venomous.
Yeah.
They're just existing, like eating the bugs out of your room, like stuff like that, right?
Remember,
Like when
guys, these creatures are venomous, not poisonous.
Yes. If it bites you and you die, it's venomous. If you bite it and you die, then it's poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There's the distinction. Um, I remember when I was younger, I had a spider that was just kind of sitting in the corner of my room, and I just sit there and watch it make webs because I thought it was cool. Like, you know, you sit there, you do your thing, I'll be over here doing my thing, you know? Like I just
Yep.
kind of let them do their thing.
Kind of the same, really. It's like I got no beef with like any of these animals. I'm like, live and let live.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about
Well,
it, it's like
the
spiders are
problem
super helpful.
yes.
If we didn't have them, we'd be overrun by like mosquitoes, flies.
Snakes are also like snakes, I guess, like and like cats have kind of taken their place as mice hunters, but
Yeah.
um there's a species of snake called the milk snake,
Mm-hmm.
and it got that name because they were found in barns, and the farmers thought that they were drinking their cow's milk, but in reality it was because they were eating the rats found in the barn. So there you go. Milk
Neat.
snakes. Um All right. Milk snakes are actually like I think pretty similar in pattern to another snake that is venomous, but they're harmless,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more about like knowing what's venomous and what's non-venomous, and like what's semi-venomous. Like hognoses are like semi-venomous, but they're rear-fanged, which means that you're not going to get, you know, they're, and it's like mostly harmless to humans. Like you're going to get like a rash at most,
Yeah.
unless you're like allergic to their venom, you know? Like,
Oh, well, that's
yeah,
because cats are
cats.
villains.
Yes,
Let's be real.
I definitely wanted to talk about cats too, but we're still on snakes
Uh,
because like I'm very passionate about animals.
yeah.
I love animals to death. I love animals more than I love people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
I
don't
think,
like I don't like the way that animals are treated by people.
yeah.
Um, I recently saw a video. We're going to talk about this because I'm bothered by how this situation was handled. But it showed up on my shorts feed, and it was the boa constrictor that was killed, who had like thousands of dollars worth of babies
Oh,
gravid. Um, and the fact that it was killed on accident. And I'm very upset by how that situation was handled. The fact that what was the state? I don't remember the state. But they don't allow retics anymore. Reticulated pythons. The longest snake in the world, by the way, gets up to 30 feet long. Those guys are cool.
damn.
And and they were telling this guy to relocate his animals, and when he couldn't do it in time and asked for an extension, they wouldn't give it to him. They came in and started like inhumanely euthanizing all of his snakes. Um, and it was horrible to watch. Absolutely horrific. Like I say inhumanely because the most humane way to euthanize a snake is to crush its skull. They used a stapler
Oh my god.
and then let the snakes writhe in pain on the floor. Like, oh, it was god awful. It was so bad.
I,
It was terrible.
so
And then they so
I'm trying to figure this out. So they decided that they were gonna waste time and money to euthanize these these snakes, instead of just letting the guy move them, like
Yeah.
he was trying to get an extension on the time allotted to get them out.
Yeah, he was trying to relocate them, right? He was trying to
Yeah.
rehome them, and they were like, "No, we don't like these here."
Well, fuck you guys.
Why?
Who cares what you
Why?
like?
I have no idea.
It's
Like
not. It's not even
retics.
y'all's fucking property.
Yeah, and they came into this guy's place. They killed a bunch of his animals, including one that was legal to be there. The boa constrictor that he raised as a baby. So, like, I can't even imagine.
Dude, that is
And
so fucking
that
messed up.
and that boa constrictor was gravid with like thousands of dollars worth of babies. So it's fucked up how that situation was handled.
I know for a fact, like, people would probably be like, if they got to this portion of the podcast, they're gonna be like, I hope that guy sued. It's like, suing would literally, like, give, like, no satisfaction after, like, losing something like this.
Yeah, like I can't even imagine, like, especially that boa, because that boa must have been like 10, 20 years old,
Shit.
right? And he raised her from a baby. Like, God, like I raised Monty as from a baby. He's like 4 years old now, and I can't even imagine. Like, holy shit. That boa probably had like many years left in her, because boas can live a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
And boas are like the sweetest things you'd ever see, right? You hear the name boa constrictor and you're like, oh no, it's gonna squeeze me to death and eat me. But no, boa constrictors are the sweetest things. They are so cute, so precious. Like, fucking hell, man. They're so adorable.
Oh.
I love boas. But yeah, that was a very that was a very not okay thing that I
Yeah.
saw.
Going kind of, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit to the depictions in media a little bit here, because we were talking about it earlier, and I'm like, I understand that in the end, it's like Hollywood is basically just like calling it, instead of Hollywood City, calling it Hollywood industry is literally the best way of thinking of it, because they want to sell. And there is no doubt that, I know that there's the whole topic of, like, you know, sex sells, but in this case it's like horror sells.
Yes.
And so it's like showing these creatures, these animals, as aggressive as possible is how they make money. And I'm like, it really, to me, like, because the first thing I'll think of is like Shark Week. And my mom loves shark movies. She has rewatched Jaws. I am not kidding you. There was a whole summer where for 2 or 3 months, that was the only movie she was watching it, and she was watching it like 5 times a day. I'm like,
I only know
damn.
one line. I only know one line from that movie, and it's gonna need a bigger boat.
In any case, it's like, and you know, she talks about, it's like, man, I would never want to go out with a shark, and it's like, I wouldn't want to go out there with a shark either. But that is just mostly because it's like, that's a big predatory animal, or I'd be scared of something going wrong.
I mean,
but
sharks
for the most
have
part,
like 5 sets of teeth, so like,
yeah. But for the most part, it's like, as long as you leave these animals alone, you stay away from them, they're not gonna really bug you. Like,
and from what I've seen, sharks don't really attack out of nowhere.
no.
That's what a lot of these movies really like to hone in on, is the fact that sharks will just attack you unprovoked. But no,
Yes.
like, they really don't do that.
Here's the thing with sharks, that I remember reading, is that sharks are like any other creature. They are curious.
Oh yeah, dolphins are dickheads. Dolphins will like attack you out of nowhere because they're dickheads.
Yeah. Sharks are very curious creatures, and just like people are. But here's the thing about people, is like, we have hands, we have non-violent ways of inspecting things using our hands, our noses, our ears, our eyes, our sense of taste. Sharks don't have any of that. So when something comes into their area that they're not used to, they really only have like a couple of things that they can really interact with you with, and unfortunately that is their teeth sometimes.
They just boop you with their nose.
Yeah.
They're silly little guys.
Yeah.
I love sharks, man. Sharks are
I
so
think sharks
cute.
are really fascinating. The various designs of sharks are so
Another
cool.
another sea like marine animal that people tend to misunderstand a lot are killer whales.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they've been known to kill people in captivity, and that's because they don't do well in captivity. I
Yep.
think we should probably learn this by now, but um, killer whales are not meant for captivity. Like, not a lot of animals are. Like, we shouldn't just
Nah.
go around and capture every animal we see. Like, oh, we've got to put
There
this in the zoo.
there is this literal weirdness with humans where we're like, we need to protect these animals, so let's stick them in a zoo, and then we're not
Hmm.
gonna take care of them.
Yeah,
Like
like,
I understand there are probably some good zoos that are like, okay, yeah, we want to preserve this creature, we want to take care of it, but but I think that would be like a zoo that is just like, no, people can't come in to see these things.
yeah, like killer whales are just like they are kind of dickheads sometimes, but like,
To be
like
fair,
so
they
are
are a
humans.
dolphin, I believe.
Are they a type of dolphin?
I can go
That
look it
would make
up.
that would make a lot of sense, but like um it's more like they're also very communal animals. Um and the fact that we
Yeah,
kind
killer
of
whales
like
are also known as orcas, are technically dolphins, not whales.
nice. All right, that makes sense where they get the dickhead thing from. But yeah, dolphins and killer whales they're very communal, and when we take them away from their pod, which is like their family,
Yeah.
at a young age, they we will and the fact that we like put them into another pod, it's like you're ripping a child from their
Yeah, I
yes, we
remember
remember
the
the
turtle
turtle fact.
fact.
It's like you're ripping a child away from its mother at like,
And
like
then expecting it to
two
not
weeks old.
lash out.
2 weeks old, you're stealing a child from its mom, and then you're
And think
putting
about
that
it.
child in.
Animals mature faster, so really it's more like taking a 5 or 6 year old.
Yeah, that's true. And they get depressed, they lash out. Like the new pod that you're putting them in might not accept them, and they beat them up, and
Mm-hmm.
shit like that. Of course they're gonna get depressed, and they're gonna lash out on the fucking captives, right?
Yep.
Like, no wonder people are like, oh no, it's terrible, the killer whale just ate someone. It's like, yeah, of course, you
I'd be
you
like,
have it in
what the fuck did you do
captivity.
first?
Like, what do you expect them to do when you take them from their home and you put them in captivity with a group of other animals that don't like them, and they beat
Mm-hmm.
them up, and if like animals have feelings. This
Yes.
is this is what we need to like come to the conclusion on, is that animals have feelings. Like, they're not just, oh, fucking
They're not
emotionless beasts that are
they're
acting on
not
instinct.
machines. They're like, here's the thing, and I really hate, well, no, I actually want to bring this up. Okay, so there are a lot of people out there who are like, oh, it's just a dumb animal. It don't have a brain the size of a person. Like, you know how it's like people are like, oh, bird brain because they got tiny brains. Well, yeah, because they have tiny bodies. They're like,
Their brain is built for their body.
yeah.
Birds
So
are
it's like, what are
actually
you
very
expecting?
intelligent. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Birds are very intelligent. Like, birds are one of the only
Well,
animals
except
that
for
are
pigeons.
capable. Listen, pigeons, we use pigeons to carry our mail, okay? Pigeons are plenty smart, all right?
I'm just making the joke, just because.
Um, some
But yeah.
birds, some birds are capable of human speech. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
Yep.
That
And then it's
doesn't
like
that doesn't that doesn't mean that birds aren't intelligent. Birds are very intelligent.
and then there's crows and ravens, which have shown multiple times that they are able to like solve out puzzles.
Yes, crows and ravens have pattern recognition and problem-solving skills, and are known to bring presents to people who help them.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Like,
just like animals, like people, have their own degrees of intelligence, and
hmm
like, how are you going to say it's like, oh, well, we know this better when we barely understand the human mind?
hmm
So we can't go and say it's like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
These animals are dumb.
birds are another animal in the pet trade that is very much abused.
Yes.
birds need to be like let out of their cage. They need to
Mm-hmm.
be able to fly, and they need to have enrichment. And most people just leave them in their cage all day and then yell at them when they start making noise. You
Yeah.
know, like I had a bird growing up. She was a green cheek conure. Her name was Taylor, and I loved her lots
Mm-hmm.
because I like birds. I like birds. Birds are one of my favorite animals. Um, and um, and we let her out quite often, thank goodness. But one day we did find her like face down on the bottom of her cage, fucking dead. But that was that was traumatizing.
Ew, I bet.
But yeah, we did let her out quite often, and I think we had to stop doing that when we got my old dog when she was a puppy, because I think she did grab Taylor one time, and that might have been the reason why she died.
Hmm.
We're not sure, but she had tons of enrichment. She was always hanging out with us. We were yeah, she was a very good bird. She's a very good
Yeah.
bird. Um, but it's important that you do get your birds like enrichment and like time to fly, because like and it's also important to like maybe get them a partner, like not like a mating partner but like another bird, because they might get lonely, you
Especially
know.
parakeets. Just saying. My
Yeah.
my parents used to have parakeets, and it was like one ended up dying. No, one flew away. Like it flew out the door,
Yeah, like
and
Taylor
then
got
the other
out one
one
time.
died like a week later.
Taylor got out one time and she was hanging on a branch like outside the house, and my dad went outside and whistled at her. She came right down.
Hmm.
It's like people think that, oh, once they're free their natural instincts are going to take over, but no, they do have like emotional attachments, right?
Yeah.
That bird loved my dad. Holy shit. Like whenever she was out, she was like with him always,
Mm-hmm.
sitting on his shoulder and drinking his orange juice. Like she loved him a lot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's crazy.
I think.
Another really abused animal in the pet trade is all right, see you later, Grace Shadow. Goldfish.
Oh,
Most
true.
and probably betta fish too, but like I'm just gonna talk about goldfish. Goldfish get really big, if you didn't
Yeah.
know that.
No,
They
I
get
didn't know that.
huge. They get monstrously huge. And the only reason that you don't see monstrously huge goldfish is because they're kept in a fucking bowl where their growth is stunted.
Yeah.
First of all, a bowl is not a good habitat for a fish. You need a tank
Mm-hmm.
with filters and enrichment,
And not a
and,
plastic baggie.
and not a plastic baggie. Oh my god, dude.
I hate
Like
those
plastic,
goldfish prizes because I'm like, that thing's gonna
yeah,
die in an hour.
yeah, because like you need to prepare for an animal. You can't just like, oh fuck, man. The fact that you can just give away an animal as a prize or a present is so stupid. You need to prepare for an animal. You can't just like get one on a whim,
I mean, as a
right?
present, it would be fine if like somebody prepared, like if the person giving the animal had prepared everything.
Yeah, that's true. Like when I got Kiwi, actually, my dad
Yeah.
was planning to take me out to get a cat. He just
Mm-hmm.
didn't expect me to get a kitten. He was taking me to a shelter to look at an older cat.
Yeah.
Um, and we just happened to stop by PetSmart, and I saw this little rug rat in the cage, and I went, "That's the fucking one. That's the one, Dad. That's the one I want." Like,
Yeah.
so it's fine if you're already like if you've prepared ahead of time, but if you're just doing it on a whim, that's not okay. The animal is going to suffer, and you're going to suffer too.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple of gerbils, I want to say on a whim, and I like to think that we took pretty good care of them. Um, until of course they escaped. Yeah, it was on a whim. Um, but I'd like to think that we did take pretty good care of them. Like we would play with them quite a bit. We would clean their little wheel a lot because they shit in there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely could have gotten them a proper cage, but again, we were young and Dad was the one who's buying all the shit for them anyways. Um, but you know, it was what, 2015? Because that's when we got Kiwi. Because we got Kiwi and we showed Kiwi to them. We were like, ho ho ho, you guys can be friends. Don't ever do that. And then they escaped, and we only found the body of one of them. So I'd like to think the other one got out and lived a happy life before it died.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. Don't ever release your domesticated animals into the wild. That is a recipe for they will live for 5 minutes before dying.
Oh. You can hear my
Domesticated
you can hear my breathing,
domesticated
and so you
animals
know where I'm about to pop off. I really fucking am.
domesticated animals are not, they're bred to be domestic pets, not wild animals. They literally have zero survival skills. Do not release your domestic animals into the wild if you think that you can't care for them anymore. Literally just take them to a shelter or sell them online, something. Just
I'm gonna fucking pop off now. And
all right, Fox,
there's a
go
reason
for it.
why. You motherfuckers who do exactly as Star just said, who are like, oh, because here's the thing. I live out in like the countryside. So
Oh yeah.
the number of times that I have had to deal with dogs and cats just being abandoned on the roadside pisses me the fuck off. It's like, how are you going to do this to these animals that are basically bred to be your family? Like this is not as simple as like, oh hey,
Like,
I kind of had this animal that, you know, is like might have a chance on the wild. These are really domesticated animals. They have no chance whatsoever.
Dogs, oh hi Kiwi. Dogs have 100% been bred to be domesticated, right? Like, cause they're descended from wolves.
Yeah.
Cats are like little predators that live in your house,
Yeah.
rent free. Ain't that right, little turd knocker?
But
keeps
it's
opening
like,
my door.
I have had multiple circumstances where it's like my sister will pop over, like back when I was living with my parents, and even now, where she'll pop over and say she found an abandoned puppy or something up the road or over by a bridge. And I'm just like, I'm getting pissed the fuck off. I've had 3 times, like within the last 2 years, where I'll be walking up the road and there's just a large dog that has nowhere to go because they've been dropped off. They've just been left there. Someone literally dropped off their fucking dog in front of my house. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I only found out because my house.
I'd like to think that dogs and cats have an easier time. Easier than most time out.
They have an easier time getting adopted. They.
Well, no, I mean like when they get dumped, right?
Yeah.
Cats like. And this is something
cats are weird because it doesn't feel like their instinct to survive hasn't been bred out, but with dogs,
it hasn't. It mostly has not. The thing about cats is that most people will treat their cat as like a half pet, where they leave it outside, and then if it comes back, it comes back. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
Cats have a very short lifespan when they're outdoor cats.
Yeah.
And as you saw with socks, they won't get spayed or neutered and end up breeding more street cats.
Yep.
Right.
And so we've got like a ton of strays in this area.
So I don't quite like it when people let their cats out. Their cats, because they're very territorial, will get into fights with other cats. They could get hit by a car.
Yep.
They could get like picked up by a bigger animal like a coyote, or like get sprayed by a skunk. I mean, dogs do that all the time because they're curious and they don't realize that skunks are big stinky cats.
Yep. Sadly, Socks has disappeared.
Oh no, Socks.
Yeah. Thing is like, it's always hard to tell because we also do have people who just kind of roam around this area where it's like sometimes they will just get picked up by a genuinely concerned person. So it's like I'm
Well,
always
that's
hopeful
good.
I'm always hopeful that's what's happened, but it's
That's
like,
good.
you never know.
Yeah.
Like,
You always assume the worst case, that they just got eaten by
yeah,
a bigger
like
animal.
I loved socks, but it was just like literally, it's like I never really considered it my pet kind of thing. I loved this cat, but it was
Hmm.
like I knew I'm not in a position to like take care of an animal.
Now, like, I saw a video some years back about a couple who did I think they hunted Burmese pythons in the Everglades,
Hmm.
and they had some either sheds or skins from that.
Yeah.
Um, and like, the berms in the Everglades are another case of letting your pet go because you can't take care of it. But this time they got a call because someone found a ball python that was shriveled up under a tree. Um, in a ball. It was deep in shed. It was covered in ticks because, and it was really cold. I don't know where they were, but it was really cold, right? If they hadn't found that poor girl, then she would have definitely died. Because someone just released their pet python and said, "Oh, natural instinct will take over." No, because they don't know where they are. They don't know where the nearest food source is, right? Like,
Yeah. I gotta say though, that's real kudos on whoever called, because there's not many people who'd call for a snake.
well, they were known for picking up snakes and stuff. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're known for that, people who own python must have big muscles. Depends on the python. My ball python, he's very small. So, I mean, if you own like a reticulated python, a boa constrictor, a berm, like, those are pretty big, and yeah, you would need mad muscles for those. If you're going out of your way to handle them often, which, yeah, that's something you should be doing. That's enrichment for them, keeping their brain active and stuff. But yeah, I was following this poor ball python story for a while. So they found her, they got her cleaned up. She made a recovery, thank goodness. A miraculous recovery with that, because she was out for probably a while before they found her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just it. Like, you'd think that, oh, I'll just release it into the wild. I can't take it no more. Like, this is getting too big for me. How big was she? She was like full grown. She was very fully grown. Probably around 5 feet and pretty
Mm-hmm.
thick. So she was very friendly too, which is the sad part. You could tell she was someone's pet at some point.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the depressing part, is that when you find a like a especially ones that aren't even from here, like a ball python, they're from Africa. You
Yeah.
find them and they're going to be friendly because they've only known people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad that this poor girl was like so trusting, right? She doesn't know any
Mm-hmm.
better, was just dumped out in the wild for no reason.
I'm just like, I cannot stand people who abandon animals, because
I also cannot.
and it's always with the excuses like, well, I didn't realize how difficult it was. I did that, it got bigger than I expected, kind of thing. And it's like, what were you expecting?
Yeah,
Animals grow, they learn certain behaviors, they interact with their owners and shit. It's
mhm.
like,
They have their own personalities.
yeah,
Like,
it's no, like,
Kiwi's a
taking
little
care of an
ron-ron.
animal is no different
Kiwi's
from
a
taking
little,
care of a child.
yeah, like, Kiwi's a little turd and Mavis is like shy and skittish, Like,
Hmm.
they're both different. Like,
I'm
Monty's a sweetie pie, but there might be like ball pythons out there who are not.
Yeah.
Like,
And for people who aren't snake people, I guess an easy way is, like, I remember this YouTube short, and I think I posted it on your Discord once, of the two little corgis,
mhm.
and one is like antisocial,
Yeah,
and
because like all animals have different personalities, and
yeah,
their personalities can change.
people just always expect like these animals to be like, I don't know. It's like, even when people they're like, oh, I want this animal that I can play with. I want it to be energetic, and then they get it, and then they're like, I don't want this after all.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like
find, take the time to find a home for them.
yeah,
Don't
don't
do this
just
shit.
don't just dump them on the streets because that's cruel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and like another thing with dogs especially, it's like not taking your dog out for
Oh,
walks is
that's not true at all.
yeah,
All
that's
Chihuahuas are all they're not all short
they're
tempered.
not all
I have
short-tempered.
had two Chihuahuas in my life. One was named Scamp. He got hit by a motorcycle. And the other was named Reese. Reese was actually my housemate's dog. Very
Aw.
recently, very recently we decided to give him away because it was like, no, like, here's the thing. He was, I don't like saying this because it's like it could get someone in trouble, but it was like he typically had to remain in a pen because he was very wild.
Mm,
And it was like nobody, like we had no place for him to be like outside and running around, which is what he so obviously wanted. He wanted a place to run around and he didn't have that.
mm-hmm.
And so it was like I was like, I told my housemates, we need to find him a place where he can have that, and finally we did.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my thing, is like, if it's like, if you can realize a dog's needs, put that need over your personal BS. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was very happy to know it's like Reese is now in a place where he can run around and he's happy.
And that's good. That's certainly good. If an animal is not happy and its quality of life is poor in your care, then you need to rehome it.
Yes.
And that's just the reality of it. If you cannot care for an animal that you should not have purchased,
Hmm.
then you need to rehome it immediately.
For the record, we didn't purchase Reese.
Yeah.
He was abandoned at the side of the road.
Aww.
He was the dog that I think I told you about, that my sister brought over because she was like, "Do you want a dog?" Because she knows I love animals. Like, as much as as much as I call everyone else in my family or the people I live with, I'm like, you're all a bunch of fucking bleeding hearts. I'm like, so am I. I love
Mm-hmm.
animals, but I'm like, I can't reasonably take care of one. I'm barely taking care of myself, so I'm like, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
But my housemates fell in love with him, and so it was like they were like, nah, we want to keep it.
Um, yeah, so no, I've never thought about raising a quail.
I have also never thought about raising a quail.
I saw a video of a guy who found a fertilized quail egg in a basket of quail eggs and hatched it and raised it, and it was the cutest thing. But the sad reality of it is that a lot of the animals that are common in the pet trade are just very like abused without people even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you need to have adequate space for your dog to run around.
Yep.
You need to take your dog for walks. You need to provide enrichment. You need to, like
Like
not yell at your dog or beat your dog when they're chewing on something or peeing on the floor.
there are very easy ways to teach a dog to behave. One is, when you buy them chew toys, you make sure it's a different material than anything else that's in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have colorful wires, make sure that their toys are not the same material or color.
Like Kiwi, you're not supposed to
So
chew
like,
on
a
wires.
good example of this is that I had an Ethernet cable that was bright blue and plastic, and my housemates gave Freya like a plastic blue ring to chew on, and I was like, please don't do that. And do you want to know what ended up happening? She ended up chewing through that cord
Yeah. I think Kiwi has
because she
only
thought
chewed
it
through like
was,
one cord.
yeah.
She was like kind of a cord chewer, but grew out of
Hmm.
it pretty quickly.
If they're chewing on your rugs, I would immediately add, like, you know those rugs that had like the little tassels on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, those are pretty similar to, like, the rope toys. Those also have like tassels.
Oh my God, Kiwi did a funny thing today. So you know how she you know how she claws at the couch, right? Despite
Yeah.
having a scratching cardboard like right there that she sits on while clawing at the couch.
Yeah.
Um, so today she reached over like she was gonna claw at the couch, and then as I was saying hey, she moved her paw back and started licking it. She fucking faked us out, the little
Hmm.
bitch. Oh my god. She's smart, eh?
Hmm.
Like animals are smarter than we give them credit for.
Yeah. And then
Um,
here's another thing about like with dogs where people are just like, oh man, I can't believe my dog just shit on my floor. It's like that's your fault. That is
mhm.
very like when you first get a dog, yes, it is kind of like one of those things where it's like you and the dog are both learning. But the thing,
Especially if it's a puppy.
yes, the thing about these dogs is first of all, yes, you what the trick that I've always learned is okay, first put the dog's nose in the mess and say like you teach them no. You don't beat the dog. Let's clarify that. You don't beat the shit
I
out of the
don't
dog.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either,
I
but
I
it's what
don't
shows
like
that there's a
that.
mess. It's like
I
no.
I never agreed with shoving their nose into their own
I'm not saying
shit. I think
I'm
that's
not saying shove it. I put like with Freya, I just kind of like got her near it so that way she understood what I was upset about.
okay. That's better because the way that my dad, quote unquote, teaches the dogs that they're doing something wrong, right? He's like, ugh. He's shoved their noses into their own waste multiple
Ugh.
times.
Yeah.
And he's beaten them before, and he did it like he had a new puppy, right?
Yeah.
And I hadn't been over there in a while, but I think Aiden was over there because he was back in town
Hmm.
for the summer. And the horror stories I heard about the way that my dad was treating the new puppy, because she was like a puppy, right? Um
Oh boy.
and I think she got sick from the amount of times that he was shoving her nose into her own waist.
That is grotesque.
I know, it was awful to hear.
Like I'll go ahead and say this is like here's what I did. Like I said, I guided Freya over to the mess that she made. I had her like kind of sniff around it. I rebuked her. And then what I started doing is that I made it a habit to take her out when my housemates couldn't do it. I don't know why I
Mhm.
was the one training the dog because it was their dog. They paid for it.
Yeah, that I got very frustrated with his dogs too because they weren't trained at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because his way of training, quote unquote, is fear tactics.
Yeah.
And when I'm there and I'm the only one there trying to, house sit and take the dogs for a walk. Keep in mind, I'm like 5'3" and I have like no muscle on me, and I'm walking two fucking 200-pound dogs,
Yeah.
right? You wouldn't think
Uh-huh.
I'd be able to do it, but I did.
But
I've done it,
the first thing
right?
is like with dogs, it's like
In the snow.
if you train a dog onto a schedule, they very rarely will make a mess. Like,
No, it's not that. Like they were clearly potty trained by the time I got there, right?
yeah.
The problem is that um they don't know the word no.
Mm-hmm.
The his new dog would like constantly just be hopping up in places where I didn't want her, and I'd be like, "No, get down," and she would just stare at me, and I'd be like,
The puppy dog eyes.
and I don't like I after that week of hell in his place, I've grown to detest barking.
Yeah.
I can't do barking. I love
Freya
dogs.
doesn't bark very much.
I love dogs, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just I don't love living with dogs. After not living with dogs for a long time and then living with dogs for a week, I have not liked living with dogs.
Yeah.
I guess it's just living with untrained, ill-mannered dogs, like
Yeah. Like Freya is not the most attentive dog where it's like she's not trained to the degree where she understands like no, don't do that. No, don't do that. She's very hyperactive. She loves to kind of jump up and lick on you. Like, and me,
mhm.
it's like, I don't really mind. I'm like, I love how affectionate she is. So I'll hug her. I'll pet her.
Yeah,
Um,
like it's fine if dogs do that, but like
Yeah.
you also got to remember that like yeah, the dog wants to just show that she's happy to see you,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like if I don't want to be jumped on by a dog, then I'm gonna get frustrated and I'm gonna say, "No, please don't do that." And when
Yeah,
the
she
dog
doesn't
continues,
always know how to stop is
yeah,
definitely the problem. So usually I just have to walk away and ignore her for a bit before she
yeah.
calms down again.
So when the dog continues to do that, and my dad's new puppy, her name is Ziggy, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, she has this habit of standing up on her back paws and just putting her front paws on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
She has a habit of doing that. And I don't like that too much because her paws are dirty
Yeah.
because they don't know how to groom her properly. So her paws are dirty. So she's getting her dirty paws on me. I'm already overwhelmed with the dog in my face. So I'm like, hey, get down. And then so I put her down. Like I take her paws and I put them back on the ground. And then she just jumps up again. And I'm like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
you are a little turd. Now get down. And she's like a
Yeah.
huge dog now. She's like a I don't remember what kind of mix she is, but she's a huge dog and she still thinks she's a puppy. She'll climb on your lap and shove her schnoz in your face and it's like and sometimes because I've lived with cats for a while, you know, like Kiwi just sits on
Mm-hmm.
my pillow and she's away from me. She's like, "Yeah, this distance is good." Like I'll pick her up and I'll give her a hug, and if she wants down, then I'll let her down, and I'm like, all right, babe, that's you've clearly communicated what you want. I understand your boundaries. Sometimes I will still be a little prick about it, but I will respect her boundaries.
Yep.
I'll only be a little prick about it when she's doing something she's not supposed to. Like when she's clawing at the couch, I'll pick her up and I'll like blow on her tummy. You know, like I'll get mad at her. I'll be like, "Hey, don't do that." Whack her with a pillow, but like and then I'll pick her up and I'll blow on her tummy like, "Hey, you don't like that? Stop clawing at the couch."
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there are other ways to teach an animal not to do things that doesn't require hurting them.
Yeah.
Right, Kiwi? Hey, baby. Yeah, you're a little turd.
It's like most animals are very sensitive to your emotions. So it's like once they
Oh,
realize it's like,
definitely.
yeah, they realize, oh, you okay, my person didn't like this. Of course it takes them a while to realize it. It's like it's no different from a kid. Do you know how many kids that I've had to deal with who, like, despite me telling them, no, don't do this, still do it because they're like, well, what's the worst that could happen? Like, literally.
Yeah.
Number of times I have to be like, okay, kid, don't leave the fridge door open. They're like, I'm gonna leave it open. It's like,
Yeah, and then we're gonna get into the okay, we'll keep that topic for a little bit later, but like still talking about cats, it's um the fact that cats have a very bad reputation about being quote unquote assholes. Um I just think that you don't understand cats.
I just say it because it's funny.
I mean, half the time it's true. Like Kiwi's an asshole, but Mavis is a sweetheart. Like
I
oh,
just like,
Mavis is just the odd one out. No, I
yeah.
don't think so. I don't
I
think
just say
so.
the stereotype when it's funny. I don't actually believe it because it's like I've had cats. Socks, for example, was the sweetest fucking cat.
Also, Kiwi is only an asshole like 90% of the time. There's 10% of the time she's a sweetheart. Like she's laying with me right now.
Yeah,
Like she'll come up and lay with me while I'm streaming, and even though sometimes it gets in the way and it's annoying, that's
and
still
sometimes
her
she cuts
way.
off your computer.
And sometimes she cuts off my stream. it's it's still her way of showing me, hey, I love you and appreciate you, and I would like
Yeah.
to sit with you. Hi.
Like,
You
again,
know, like
socks. If I step out onto the front porch, do you know who's there and just immediately starts circling my leg, rubbing up on me? It was socks. And
socks.
she would just like be like,
Oh.
please pet me, please pet me. And so I would do so, and she would just eventually like fall on her back as I just like scratch underneath her chin.
Ah, cats are so cute.
So it was
Like
like she was a very sweet cat. And then
most of the time it's just incompatible personalities.
Yeah.
People like to think that the way that dogs show affection is the end all be all of how animals should love humans, but that's just not true. Animals will show their affection in different ways, and that's
I'm,
something that we need to normalize.
I'm now looking through this and I'm like, oh, do I still have these old pictures? It's not of socks, but it was of a cat that we did have.
Like your outdoor cat bringing you a dead chipmunk, that's them teaching you how to hunt because they think you're a giant naked baby.
Let's
Right?
see. Here it is. Or oh wait, nope, that's skulls.
I had a oh my goodness! The babies!
This is literally just this was me asleep on the sleeping in the recliner. I woke up with this weight on my chest and these two motherfuckers were just here.
They do that for real, for real.
And it was like this wasn't a once in a this what was not a once in a while thing. This was every single day.
Owl, that statement is factually wrong. Not all dogs are naturally loving.
Yeah.
If you see a dog that was rescued from an abusive household, it will not be naturally loving to you because you are a person, and they will immediately associate you with danger. Cats just show their love differently, and that's why people think that they don't love you. But cats have very different body language compared to dogs. They also purr, and purring has healing properties. Did you know that?
I'm just laughing at the image I put on stream. It's just always
Oh
funny
my
to me.
god, it's so cute.
It's just in there with the rest of the cokes. Oh man, that one was called let's see, that one was called Phoenix.
Like, there are a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Have your cat tried to talk weirdly, like copying human language? I've never had that, unfortunately. I've tried to get them to speak. Although one time, I swear I was like half asleep, but I swear I heard Kiwi say mama, so I don't know. Like, it was just so out of nowhere, and I might have been like half asleep, but I swear she did it.
Oh, I forgot about this one.
Explain the healing spell purr. It's not a healing spell, it just has healing properties. Cats purr when they're injured and it helps them heal. They will also purr and it can make you feel better. It's a whole thing, right? Like, that's a fucking cute cat.
It really is. It's so dark I can't tell if that's Phoenix or Midnight, but it was just like this. I like this one would just like snuggle to me. That like that's in between the recliner arm and me.
Yeah, so the frequency of the vibrations produced by a cat's purr can aid in wound healing and inflammation reduction. So it's and therapeutic benefits as well. Like, holy shit, get yourself a cat if you're depressed.
And then there's this just for the lols.
All right, here you go, Key.
And here's the thing: every time I would buy a new crate, it would just be like, "This is my spot."
Mm-hmm. Cats like to hide in the weirdest places. They also just really like boxes.
Yeah.
Um.
And these were like factually our cats, by the way, like the ones that lived indoors.
Oh, nice. But yeah, if a cat rubs its face on you, that means that they're marking you with their scent and therefore marking you as theirs. Because that's how they mark their territory, kind of.
That explains why those two are always on my shoulder. Those motherfuckers just love to sleep on me for some reason.
Yeah, cats are so funny. If their cat or if their tail is like kind of in like a question mark, like the tip is kind of curled like a question mark, that means they're
Mm-hmm.
happy to see you,
Yee.
right? So they definitely have like different body language compared to dogs. Dogs will
Yeah.
just wag their tail and go, like they're happy to see you. They'll
I
they'll
will
give
say
you
this.
licks.
If I ever like got my own place, and I'm always like, because I think like if I got my own place, I would get a pet. I'd lean more towards getting a cat.
Hmm. People say that cats are like quote unquote easy, and I don't think that's like a good thing to say because like another
They're not
another life
really easy, but I would say
another life
compared to
should
like a
not be
dog.
considered another life should not be considered like
Yeah.
that.
No,
It's
it definitely should not be. I think the I think the idea though is like if you were to compare like having a cat versus a dog, which one are you going to probably struggle taking care of with the most?
Yeah, I get that. It's more like they the way that they phrase it makes it seem like they require less work
Yeah.
when that's just factually not true.
I guess to me, because it's like when I weigh the decision, it's like I'm like it's like weighing like whether like a couple weighing the idea. It's like, hey, are we ready for kids yet?
Hmm.
Is the way I look at it.
And yeah, like getting an animal is like having a child.
Yeah.
So like it's again,
No matter what pet it is, if you are not willing to devote time to it, do not fucking do it.
like I said earlier, don't get an animal on a whim
Mm-hmm.
because it's not good for you, it's not good for the animal's
Yeah.
well-being.
Like I would probably spend 2 months prior to like getting an animal, like studying something, like figuring out treatment, figuring out what I
Hmm.
need to do first before getting that animal.
Yeah, like when I decided I wanted a snake, I first of all had to get the okay from my mom,
Fair.
right? I was like, I want a snake, and she said no. And then and then the next day she said, "Okay, let's talk about this." And that's I think an important thing for parents to do.
Yeah.
If your child is interested in getting a pet, you should sit down and talk to them about it. Don't just immediately
Mm-hmm.
shut down the idea. She immediately shut down the idea because she's scared of snakes, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't want that animal in my house. And I was like, "But mom." And then like I went and I cleaned the bathroom to show that I was serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about it. We talked about exactly like which snake we would get, what we needed to get the snake, stuff like that. Um
Oh, I want to clarify something to parents. Like, I don't know what parents would be watching our streams, but I still just want to say this. Parents, do not use an animal to teach your kid responsibility. Teach them responsibility first.
yes. I mean, yeah. That's yeah. My dad would like to get a bunch of animals and then thrust all of the care of said animals onto us.
Yeah.
He has a fish tank that I don't think he's ever cleaned in the time that he got it. Um, I remember it was my job to feed the bird, give her food and water. Um, it's still my job to do the cat litter, but like I would have to back when Kiwi and Mavis lived with him, I would have to trudge over to his place every other day
Yeah.
to clean the cat litter. Um, but here it's like they live with us. That's the thing we have to do. I have to give them food and water and
Yeah.
clean their toilet. But like as a kid, right?
Yep.
I had sure, like it was under the guise of a family pet, quote unquote, but like the family pet should not be the sole responsibility of your children.
Oh, well, what I mean is like, if we're going to say, all right, teaching responsibility is like, okay, here's the thing. Don't be like, oh, well, the pet's going to help teach responsibility. And I'm not saying it won't, but I'm saying it's like instill the sense of responsibility prior to getting the pet so that this way that they are actually showing that they will care for the pet.
Hmm.
Like,
And that's
I would be
and
fucking
that's
evil
another
about
thing.
this.
And And that just leads back to the whole don't get a pet on a whim,
Yeah.
right? Because like children will go to a pet store and they'll be like, I want this pet,
Yeah.
and
Oh, I
then
would
and
not
then
take my kid
they'll
into a pet store.
yeah, never, never, never.
My
We
kid
we
would
were
be
at the
like,
pet
pet store?
store.
What's that?
We were at the pet store yesterday, and as soon as I walked in, I looked to the left and I saw that there were kittens in the adoption center, and I went straight to it.
Star.
I was like, Mom, look at how cute they are.
Like, I would be this fucking evil parent where it's like, all right, if my kid forgot to change the litter box or take the dog out or feed them like even once, I'm gonna be like completely evil. I'm like, all right, I'm going to assume I'm married. I know, very strange idea. I would say, take the dog and hide. I'm going to tell the kid that we had to give it away because they didn't take care of it.
Aw. That's almost like my evil plan of telling children that if they don't brush their teeth, they're gonna fall out.
I mean, that's true though.
And then watch them cry as their teeth come loose.
Yep. And I'm just gonna literally, like, people would say it's like, oh, that's so fucking evil, but I'm like, it like, and then it's like, I'll say it's like, look, the person I gave it to is someone I trust. If I speak to them, I can bring the dog back, but you have to promise that you aren't going to skip out on your responsibility for taking care of this dog that you wanted.
Mm-hmm. A little traumatic, but it gets the point across.
Yes, because it's like anything could happen. You skip it once, and this is, I'm saying this as like an actual thing, because I know me. It's like skipping it once just means you'll try and skip it again.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll be like, oh, it was so easy, and someone else will take over for me.
Yeah, no, that's very valid. Right. Kids are
Like,
fucking lazy.
it might sound evil and it might sound traumatic because it is, but it's like,
But instilling
would
that into
rather-
their head
uh-huh,
early on
Yeah.
is good, you know?
yeah. It's like, okay, this is a terrible comparison, but it was what popped into my head where it's like, okay, kid skips homework once and then there's continuously realizing there's no real punishment for doing it. It's like, oh, hey, I went to detention for getting it, but who cares? Oh, hey, I got a bad grade, but who cares? Like, how is this actually affecting me?
So true. I didn't do homework, that's because I was a procrastinator.
Same. Like I said, it's a terrible comparison.
And also came from a really broken household, so.
I did, in fact, I got held back from, like, I got after school detention because I didn't turn in a homework assignment once.
I never got after school detention, but I did get held inside during recess, but it's like I didn't want to go outside anyways, so who's really winning here?
Yeah. And then the teacher was, and it was like, it was really stupid because the way that it was is like, okay, the teacher was like, okay, well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to write a letter to your parents and then have them sign it, bring it in. I was like,
the
why?
the best part is when you lie and say that you left your homework at home, and then you and then they're like, all right, let's go down and let's call your parents, and I was like, oh.
I've legitimately actually done that. Left my homework at home.
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times because I didn't finish it, and then I
Yeah.
had one teacher who was like, all right, let's go call, and I'm like, oh.
The really stupid part is that I can finish a homework assignment in like 10 minutes and still get like practically full credit for it.
Damn.
Like, I remember doing a homework assignment where we had 2 weeks to do research and present it in like some kind of fantastical way. I did it in 10 minutes and our group it was a group project at that, and I got full credit. It was not even my fault that it was late. Nobody sent me any info.
Oh my god.
And then like I was like, what are you guys wanting me to do? Nobody sent me anything.
Deadly Nepsil says, wait, can't you use the dog as an excuse, like saying my dog ate my homework?
No
Now,
teacher
my
believes
dog-
that, no.
My dog never ate my homework, but Mavis did chew on a piece of paper one time, so. And I have a picture of it, and I refuse to show it because the last time I did, Fig made fun of me because my math was wrong.
But no, I just mean like, and then it was like I got to the class where we had the group project that I was just talking about, and one person said, I did send you information. And I was like, when? At like 7 o'clock this morning. I'm sitting there dumbfounded, like, bitch, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work on this.
Oh my god.
Ugh, it was so dumb.
Well, anyways, back to animals.
Yeah, back to animals because they're way more important than homework.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about cats and why you should not declaw them. It's fucking cruel.
It's like getting rid of, like, the top joint of your own fingers.
Yeah, that is literally what it is.
Yeah. Like, just get a nail file. Just get a fucking nail file.
Literally, people are like, oh, just get like cat nail clippers or whatever. Like, apparently there's special clippers for cat nails. Literally, I just use normal ass nail clippers, pin the cat down, and just
Wow.
you know? It's like sometimes they struggle. Sometimes
Yeah.
Mavis hisses at me, but
Star,
sometimes I get scratched on
consent
the
is
arm.
required here.
There's no consent when it comes to clipping cat nails, okay? Like, listen. Listen, you go as fast as you can and then you're done and they get treats afterwards, so it's fine. Right? You pin them down, you go done.
Dude, we need to trim Freya's nails.
Now dogs, on the other hand, I can't help you with.
I ain't gonna do it.
I am not the resident dog nail clipper. I am the resident cat nail clipper.
Here's kind of the crazy part is it's like dogs, they don't really scratch you like that. I mean, like, a dog's claws can be sharp, but unless they are actually trying to apply like a lot of pressure, they don't really dig into you that much.
I've had my dad's dogs, again, because they're not trained and they like to jump up a lot. Yeah. I've had them scratch me multiple times, and it's annoying as hell.
Oh yeah, you get scratched. I'm just saying, it's like when people think claws, they think it's like, oh, it's gonna rip into you, and it's like, no, not really. It's just really annoying, and it itches for a while afterwards.
The biggest problem with cats, though, is that, like, people be like, oh, the cat scratched me once, time to just remove an entire piece of its fucking paw.
I'm like, why would you do that? They need that for hunting.
Yeah, so it's bad, especially if they're an outdoor cat. They have no way to defend themselves. You saw the short. They have, like, mobility issues, arthritis, shit like that. They have, like,
they're forced to walk on the fucking painful stubs.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Right. If the cat scratches you, you are probably being a dick to it in the first place. There we go.
Yeah, like as somebody who has dealt with dozens of cats over the years, it's like they don't typically scratch you for no reason.
I have a friend, she's still a friend, who had a cat, and she'd had him since he was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
His name was William Shakespeare.
I love it.
He was the runt of his litter. He could literally fit in the palm of your hand. He was that small. And so they raised him since he was a baby, and he grew up with their older cat, who was just a gray cat. He was like an outdoor cat too. They didn't let Will become an outdoor cat. They kept him inside. Good. But the older one was an outdoor cat, and they didn't want to, like, ruin his poor mental state by keeping him indoors, so they had to keep him out, like, in and out. He was a good old man. Oh, every time that I went over there, he would come up and he would, like, rub his bony ass head on me. I think he passed away from colon cancer, something like that. It was years ago now. And as soon as that happened, I think Will was always, like, a little bit of a shitbag. He would lash out a lot, but I think after the older cat passed away, he became a little bit more like he definitely had something going on. He was really like anxious, he was really angry, he would lash out quite a bit. And I never blamed him for it cuz he would like attack my feet all the time as I was walking by. But he's, you know, he was just existing. I gave him a pat. I'm like, "You're a good
Mm-hmm.
boy. You know, you're a good boy." Um and then when my friend started to, you know, spend more time away from the home, right? She's practically half living with her fiance now. She recently got engaged. Good on
Oh,
her.
nice.
Um, and the last time I was over there, I noticed that William wasn't there, and I was like, "Hey, where'd Will go? Did he pass away?" And she was like, "No, my parents got rid of him." And I was like, "What the fuck?
Holy shit!
What the fuck? They just got rid of him. This cat they'd had since he was a baby."
Why? Did you get a reason?
Yeah, apparently, like again, because he lashed out a lot. Apparently, I don't know. I think he was like peeing on the floor or something,
Uh,
being like really mean to their other cat, Maple. Maple's a cutie.
hmm.
Um, but yeah, he just wasn't the same after the older cat, Shadow, passed away.
Grief. It does something to us all.
Exactly. And like my dad is an advocate for mental illness isn't real until it happens to my dog, because his dog, the not the new puppy, but the old puppy, he's like, I don't know, 5, 6 years old now. I don't remember
Yeah.
when they got him, but they got him while my other dog was still alive. And I refer to her as my dog because I grew up with her. Um
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, she was a lab husky mix, and we got her as a puppy in like 2009, I think. And she passed away a couple of years ago. She was a very old dog. She was
Oh.
lumpy and bumpy, and she couldn't walk very good. And but I like to think that she was loved in her last days. Um, but she was loved. I put my sweater on her one time. It was good stuff. I love that dog. I hope she's happy wherever she is now.
Yeah.
So I had two dogs growing up. Georgia was one of them. Ginger was American Eskimo, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, American Eskimo dog.
Not entirely
Something like,
related to animals, but sorry, you were mentioning about how like what mental illness isn't real until it happens to my dog, and I was
yeah.
like, recently I was over at my parents' place, and my nephew had popped by to drop off his son, and he was telling her that, you know, medicine isn't real, it's all in your head, and I'm like, you're gonna tell that to a woman who is suffering from cancer and also suffers from seizures that she doesn't need her medicine to survive?
Oh my God.
I'm like, that's not even getting into the fact that we live longer lifespans now compared to like 100 years ago because of medication.
Because of medicine.
So it's like it's completely bullshit. What you're referring to is a placebo effect, and is only typically used for like I don't even know. It's like that's just some real distrust, like anti-pharma bullshit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's the idea.
Um,
It sounds like the conspiracy theory is like, oh, the pharmacists are all for the government. They don't. I mean, they're not
Big
wrong, but
Pharma. Big Pharma.
yeah, it's so fucking ridiculous.
But yeah, so after Georgia passed away, um, the dog that they got, um, started to get really depressed
Oh,
because he was, you know, he was very young when they were introduced. They would play fight all the time. They were
yeah.
good buds. So he was very depressed, and I remember being over there and he was just sitting there all sad like, and I was like, "Oh, are you okay, little man?" And they're like, "He's depressed." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." You give you.
I, I don't mean to laugh because you're saying he's depressed, and I'm like, the delivery just killed me. I was like, what the?
they were just like, "Oh, he's just like he's a little sad because he's a little depressed because George is gone." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah,
Oh.
it's only when the dog has it, it's valid. Okay, yeah, thanks." Because at that point, I'd been depressed for like, I don't know, 10, 12 years.
Yep.
And all I'd ever been told is, what do you have to be depressed about? You know, like,
Suck it up.
suck it up, loser.
Walk it off.
Thanks, Dad.
Get up. Walk it off. Be a real man.
You know, it's like,
I
so
totally don't have problems.
that's where the mental illness isn't real unless my dog has it,
Yeah.
because the dog can have depression and anxiety, but the second that his child, have depression and anxiety, it's just not real.
Shake it
You
off.
know, shake it off. Go get a job, loser. You know, it's crazy. My dad
Yeah.
is bad.
I want to
It's
tell a
hard.
good dog story at this point. Just.
Let's see. One time when I was younger, I just mentioned the American Eskimo. Her name was Ginger.
Aw.
She was the dog that I grew up with for about like 5, 6 years before we got Georgia. And she's very fluffy. Very fluffy girl.
Fluffy.
Yes, she was so cute. And one time, I think Aiden was having a birthday party, so there were a bunch of like little kids around the house, and
Okay.
Ginger was out in the backyard, just sniffing, hanging out, and all I hear from, because it's hard to remember what the house used to look like, but I'll try my best. Up
Hmm.
the stairs, there was a little platform, and then there was a giant window by that platform. And one of the kids was staring out the window and went, "Oh my God, there's a wolf in your backyard." And I come up and I'm like, "What?" And then I look and I'm just like, "Oh yeah, it's just our dog." And then left.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that wolf, that's ours. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh man.
another good dog story is that Georgia was a little rugrat. She would escape the yard a lot, and we had like a forest at the end of the street with a river, and she would like to go swimming in the river
Aw.
because she was part lab,
Mm-hmm.
and the part lab was like, gotta explore, gotta swim, you know?
Trying to reenact that scene from Homeward Bound.
Nah, she just liked to swim. You wouldn't think that she would be a mix between a black lab and a husky because she was golden colored.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She chewed off her tail. Still
The
never
fuck?
found out what that was about.
Okay. I'm just like, what?
I
What?
haven't I haven't had the cats act like there was something paranormal here or at the other place,
Uh,
but at my dad's house, most definitely. There's
I-
something going on there.
I'm just like, how would you know they're reacting to paranormal stuff?
Well, I would always feel super uncomfortable in that house.
Huh. Fair enough.
Even for no reason. Like I was
Uh-huh.
always super uncomfortable there. Like as soon as I started living elsewhere, I'd come back on weekends and I'd be like, this place sucks. What the fuck?
Star is reacting to paranormal stuff. She's part animal too.
I am part cat, by the way. I sleep for 17 hours a day.
I'm gonna be real. I'd say more part sloth.
Oh, so true. No, my dad hasn't been hiding dead bodies,
As far as
unfortunately.
you know.
Why am I saying unfortunately?
I don't know.
No, it's just that it was like 100-year-old house that he just tore everything apart, and now the house is
And now
completely unrecognizable.
the spirits are unrested. They
I
want
mean,
their revenge.
listen to me, okay? My mom is like, she deals with spirits a lot, right? She used
Mm-hmm.
to be able to see them. I don't know if she can still see them, but she can talk to them. Um, and I've had, apparently I could hear them when I was younger too. Like one time, when I was younger, I thought I heard mom calling me, and I went downstairs and I was like, "Did you call me?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, I thought I heard you." And then I just walked away.
I
Yes, I actually have had a paranormal experience. It was when I was in elementary school, and me and my friend were throwing rocks at a mushroom that was like on a tree. You know, like those like
mm-hmm.
mushrooms that hang off the sides of trees.
Yeah.
And I think one, because it was like in an alley beside the school,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like a fence with like a parking lot to another building, and I think one of the rocks fell onto one of the cars in the parking lot, and then a teacher came over and yelled at us to stop, so we were turning and walking away, and I felt a tap on my shoulder,
Oh dear.
and there was nobody there, and I was like, whoa,
I don't
wowzers.
know if I've ever had a paranormal experience. Because I feel like if I did, little kid me brushed it off and thought, there's a reasonable explanation. But I did convince my mom that her place was haunted for a few days
Why would you do that?
because it was funny.
You know what? Fair.
So here's what it was. She moved into a trailer, and it belonged to the owner's dead mother,
Oh.
and she died in that trailer.
Oh.
And so I started making jokes. It's like, hey, did you guys move the couch? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, well, it's a little bit like a couple feet to the right compared to the last time I was here. And then I was
Why
like,
would
did you
that?
did you guys wash clothes? And she's like, no. It smells like laundry detergent.
Dude, you're so cruel. I gotta try that.
It was like really, really small stuff that honestly all had valid excuses, because here was the thing is that they didn't realize this, like they just would just plop down onto the couch and it would cause it to shift to the side. The
Mhm.
laundry detergent smell was just because someone left a thing of laundry detergent open.
Oh my god.
And I
You're
just kept messing
so
around with
mean.
them. I just kept messing the fuck with them. It was great. Because
I have to try that sometime. Holy shit, that's
oh my god.
amazing.
I didn't even open the laundry detergent. One of them left it open. Or maybe it was the ghost. I don't know.
Could have been the ghost.
I just
Um,
kept messing with them. It was great.
I don't know. Like I don't have any like negative experiences with paranormal stuff. I mean, like
Yeah.
whenever I was sleeping at my dad's place, I always got the feeling someone was watching me. So I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
that. But um, my mom likes to watch ghost shows,
Yeah.
not like real quote unquote real stuff where it's like people go in with those like detector thingies and they're like, oh my god, there's a presence. You know,
You mean
like
like that movie,
those are
what is it, Paranormal?
Paranormal Activity is so good. I've never
Oh.
seen it, but it's so good.
How do you know it's good if you've never seen
I've seen the deleted scenes. It's
it?
good. But she watches this one show, Ghost Whisperer, and it's pretty good. I really like it. I'll sometimes just come in and watch it with her, and we'll just sit
Mm-hmm.
on the couch and be like, "That's totally unrealistic."
But going back to a good dog stories, because holy shit, we've been depressing ourselves this episode.
Yeah.
So my mom
Sorry,
used
it's because my dad sucks.
when I was in high school, my mom and dad had this dog named Lizzie. We have no idea what she was, by the way. She was like kind of like she had the color palette of like a Rottweiler or a Doberman, but she was very, very friendly, almost like a lab. Really, she kind of had the body
Aw.
type for it too. But she was adorable.
Mhm.
Well, one day she had puppies with a lab from up the road, and this is probably my favorite story because all right, so we brought them all in, and it was like, okay, we need to figure out what we're gonna do with all these puppies. And we were like pretty all set much saying it's like, okay, we're gonna give most of these away. And my mom was like, well, why don't we keep some of them? Even though I'm like, bad idea. We're not really in a financial space to keep more dogs. My point being though is okay. We were all just kind of sitting in my mom's room, just kind of making sure that all the puppies were okay. And she was like, why don't we name some of them?
No.
Bad idea.
Bad
And there
idea.
was this little puppy that looked just like Lizzie in my arms. You can tell I got attached.
Mm-hmm.
I am very, as much as I accuse them of being bleeding hearts, I'm very much the same, and I made the
Mm-hmm.
mistake of actually naming this puppy.
Oh no.
Um, and my mom is like, okay, let's name this one because I want to keep that one that you have in your arms. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just sitting there petting it. I'm just like scratching behind its ear, petting it. And she's like, I really want to call it Beethoven, but you know what? That's a little, that one's kind of taken. Well, I said it was kind of taken because she loves the Beethoven movies. So
Yeah.
she's like, I got it. Why don't we call it Mozart? And the funniest shit happened. That puppy lifted its head at her, looked her in the eye, and growled.
Oh no.
He
Did
was
not
like,
want to be Mozart.
he did not want to be Mozart. I'm like,
That's
it would have been funny if I
amazing.
said Salieri. It would have been funny, but I did not.
Oh man.
I should have though, but I wasn't playing FGO back then. I think this was like a
Yeah.
year before that, before I started.
That's amazing.
And what's funny is that we were still coming up with names, and I was coming up with like Greek themed names. I was like Zeus, Hades, but then I started thinking, it was like, oh, well, what about Percy? And I said that out loud, and the puppy looked up at me and gave the happiest little bark with its tail a wagging. And I was
Aww.
like, this thing wants to be called Percy.
That's so cute.
Yeah, we ended up giving it away a week later, and I was kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie, I was devastated.
Mom says, let's keep that one, and then gives it away anyways.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of this thing where it's like, if any of my parents or my siblings are ever like, man, why don't you want a dog? And it's like, because literally every time I've had a dog, I've either had to give it away or it's died because it's caught some disease or something.
Oh, well, yeah, that's. I was gonna say, like, they're gonna die eventually, and that's just the sad reality of life.
No, it's like I've had like puppies that by the time they've gotten to me, they've apparently been sick, and it's
Mm,
just like,
yeah, I could see why that's a little, like, traumatic.
and so it's like I've just been like, no, I don't want a dog. I don't want a pet.
Mm-hmm.
And then there have been other times where it's like there's just been accidents where it's like, I've lived around a bunch of little kids, and they're not always the most careful with animals.
Oh, definitely. I think that we should treat, or we should teach kids to respect animals.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I scroll through YouTube Shorts a lot. Um, and I saw this
One of the first things is
short.
teach a kid that they don't need to carry the pet everywhere. They don't need to pick it up and take it everywhere. Because I had a nephew who really wanted to carry this dog that we had around everywhere, and he put it on a ladder because he had bunk beds. So you know how thin those ladder railings are. It fell and it snapped its neck.
Oh.
My nephew was devastated.
Yeah, I bet.
Like
Oh my God.
I don't know if
Yo,
he remembers
Kiwi
that
used
ever
to love
happening.
climbing ladders.
Yeah. But this was a puppy, like only 3 weeks, like maybe just barely away from its mom.
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't taught a child to respect an animal's boundaries, then that child should not be left alone with said animal.
Yeah.
Like I said, I saw a short. I've probably mentioned this before. I think I've mentioned this one before, but it was a kid who was hanging out with a cat, and they were petting the cat, and the cat kind of flapped him, and the kid, like, as a the cat flapped him as a please leave me alone,
Yeah.
like, establishing a boundary, and the kid picked up the cat's tail and bit it,
Oh.
and then the cat just, like, grabbed its tail and then got up and walked away. It's like, you should not be teaching your kids to disrespect an animal's boundaries like that.
Well,
um Cats, have like the tail is a very important part of a cat. It it helps them with their balance. It apparently
Yep.
has a bunch of nerves in it. That if you pull on it, it can ruin their spine. Um, I've never pulled on the tail like per se, but I have like grabbed like when Kiwi gets out of, like one time Kiwi got out of the apartment and I had to like I was chasing her down the hallway, which if you're chasing a cat, you don't want to like run because it'll make them run. You just want to walk sternly towards them, you know? Like
I usually just like I'll sit down cross-legged
uh,
and then just like kind of click at them.
so I grabbed it, like I didn't pull, but I did grab it. And she turned around and she hissed at me and I learned like, okay, I know not to do that, but you can't be escaping the apartment, little lady.
Yeah.
Scoop her up and bring her back in. But like, so I usually don't ever go for the tail. But if
Mm-hmm.
that's the only thing within reach, I just give it a little squeeze and go, "Hey, you can't be doing this." And she'll turn around and she'll be like, "Wah,"
I did
you know,
not get to
like
watch the live action series Owl.
I heard it was okay.
I mean,
I
it's
watched
probably
the I watched the Friendly Space Ninja video on it.
yeah. It was probably definitely better than the movie. That's a very low bar though.
um, but yeah, so my I, my brother's ex-fiance's kid, my ex-nephew, I guess I should say. Whenever I would get to see him, which wasn't a lot, I would always make sure like to show him the animals, like, hey, this is Kiwi. Make sure you're like being gentle with her. And he would come over and he would slap the fucking cat tree, and I'm like, okay, we don't do that. You know, like
Yep.
don't do that. Like, and whenever I'd see him at my dad's place, I'd grab, I think, Luna, because Tara didn't like to be carried, but Luna's the scrunkly one because my dad has two black cats.
Mm-hmm.
Luna's the scrunkly one and Tara's the fluffy one. And I grab Luna and I'll be like, "Hello, this is Cat," and I, like grab his hand and give the cat a little pat with it. Like, this is, you're supposed to be gentle with Cat. Cat will not hurt you if you don't hurt Cat. You know. And then I'd like let the cat go, and she would sit on my lap anyways, because Luna loves me, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Luna's like my bestie. Too
Like
bad I don't get to see her no more.
yeah. Like teaching the boundary of animals is the important thing, and it's just
Hmm.
like also generally just like I understand the appeal of like being like, oh well, the sooner a kid learns to be responsible for an animal, it's like
I think you
the
should
thing
teach
the
them
thing that
boundaries first.
the thing about kids is that they are very distracted by shiny objects. They love the jingling keys, and for a lot of kids, especially young kids, a pet is like a new toy.
Oh, yes. That's definitely why you need to teach them boundaries as soon as possible.
And that's why it's like, as much it might seem appealing to be like, oh, get a puppy or something, it's like, make sure it's like, get a somewhat older animal, but realize that even though you're getting this for the kid, this dog or this cat is very much your responsibility as much as it is the kid's. And
Hmm.
you have to watch and teach the kid how they're supposed to treat the animal.
If if the cat scratches the kid, it's on the parent for not intervening.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people in that video I was talking about earlier, were saying like, this is bad parenting. You should have intervened. That should have never gotten to this point. That kid could have hurt the cat. Like, and there were some people in the comments making the whole, oh, the kid showed the cat who's boss. Like, no, that was not okay. Um, Animals have boundaries. Like Kiwi has boundaries. And it like Mavis does too, right? But
Yep.
Kiwi is a more interesting case to me because I will pick up Kiwi and I'll blow on her tummy and I'll like
Yeah.
fucking like
But the
smack her
thing
with a
is
pillow.
like Kiwi knows you,
Yeah, and then we
and
have
that's y'all's
and then we
bond.
have and then we have someone come over and they'll pet her for like, I don't know, 2 minutes, and she's hissy and pissy, and she's like, get out of my face. It's like, whoa, Kiwi.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, she deals with my bullshit, and this is how I know that she's, she's fine with me, because like she puts up with so much of my bullshit,
Yeah.
and if she didn't want to, she could easily tell me off, but she doesn't. She only does it if someone else that she's not comfortable with is there, and is touching her for extended periods of time. She doesn't like that, and
Mm-hmm.
she'll get hissy and run off. It's like, wowzers.
And that
She's a completely different cat. It's insane.
and that is another thing is that people need to be aware of with animals is that while your animal might be comfortable with you, they are not necessarily going to be comfortable with other people.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
you have to spend time watching how your animal interacts with others
mhm.
before you like start throwing them into like extremely social situations. And I want to say this: I think dog training schools are very stupid.
Yeah, I mean, you're putting a bunch of untrained dogs in a room together.
No, I mean specifically like, okay, not schools, camps where it's like, okay, the owner of the dog is able to send their dog to this training camp and they don't have to go
Oh,
with them.
yeah, no,
I
that's
think
stupid.
those are stupid as fuck because here's the thing. What happens is that the trainer can now command the dog. You
Mhm.
didn't spend time with that dog. That dog doesn't give a shit about you. It wasn't taught to respect you. It wasn't taught to listen to you.
Mhm.
And it probably never will now.
My dad has a dog walker who comes in every morning. Those dogs are so spoiled. They get fucking walked twice a day.
Star's
Um
jealous.
no, I don't want to get walked twice a day. Are you kidding me?
Star barely wants to get walked once.
Exactly. Like, it's insane. My mom keeps saying this, and I think it's true. It's, don't get an animal if you don't have the time to take care of it.
Oh, 100% agree.
Like, they're both busy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they both work full time. I think they only have time in like the evenings, and even then it's like short walks, right?
Yeah.
Again, the fish tank, he has a fish tank that he's never cleaned. Um, every time that I hear from my brothers, they're always talking about how they had to clean the fish tank.
Yeah.
Um, he likes the idea of owning the animal, but he doesn't actually like to take care of said animal, you know?
Yep.
Um, like every time I went over there, like every time without fail, he'd be like, "Hey, can you go clean out the cat litter?" It's like, "Okay, but how much do you not clean out this cat litter that you have to wait for me to come over every time?" You know, like,
Kage just made a brief cameo.
"Oh, hi Kage."
I was over here trying to pull something else up and I was like, oh, hey, why was that there?
Um,
Sorry, I'm just like, I was sitting here and I was like, you know what? I just want to show a dog that I would love to have. Like, if I ever got
corgis
my
are
own
cute.
place, I'm like, I love Freya and she's a husky, but I was like, I feel like if I got my own place, I'd probably be starting off in an apartment, so a husky would not be the best idea.
Yeah. Oh man, huskies are like wild, dude. Like, I could never do a husky.
Freya is super sweet. Like that's the reality of it, but it's like I wouldn't want a husky if I don't have like an open space to take her or him.
They're
A
also
play.
very vocal, is what I see. They like to talk a lot. You know, like, and they
This
yowl too.
I've never heard the yowling, but the vocal thing. So here's me and Freya whenever I walk into the kitchen. I'm not even joking. I'll stand there for 5 minutes of her doing that, and I'll talk back to her in the same pronunciation. I'm like,
They're very vocal. They do like to yowl quite a bit, and they're kind of sassy.
I don't.
Like, I don't I could not handle the yowling. I
Freya
would not
really
be able
doesn't
to.
yowl that much unless someone is bugging the shit out of her.
Mhm. I would not
Um,
be able to handle yowling.
but she does like to like kind of get talk. Like she'll try and talk to me. Specifically if I'm like ignoring her, she's like, "Get your ass back over here and start giving me scratchies."
You want to know what dog I want?
What?
I want a German Shepherd.
Ooh, my neighbor has one.
I love German Shepherds. Mavis is also quite a chatterbox. She's
I
very
ended up
much
looking this
more.
up in case anyone is curious. I was looking this up because my housemate was like, "Oh, because our dog is female and the neighbor's dog is male." And my housemate was like, "Oh, German Shepherd Husky mix is ugly." And I'm like, I was curious about it. I was like, "These
They're
don't look that
cute.
bad.
They're
These look
cute. What the
cute.
hell?
I think these look really cool."
Hmm. Why were
Real
they thinking of breeding Freya?
they weren't. The male dog came over and was playing with her, and my housemate got freaked out and said, "No, don't let it come near."
That's why you just spay your dog.
Yeah. But this was the one that they actually was saying was ugly. I'm like, "Oh, that's actually doesn't look that bad."
I think they're cute.
I think the mixture of features is just like it's like with any other mixed breed. It's random. It's hard to I don't know. I think some dog breeds can be not appealing to me, is the way I look at it.
Pugs are ugly. We should breed out the flat-faced pugs, please. Those poor things are suffering.
These things are so funny to look at.
Nah, like pugs have a very poor quality of life, for real.
I think purse dogs in general have a poor quality of life. Those poor
No, it's
things.
because of their faces. Like the way that they were bred, like their faces are so flat they have a hard time breathing.
Oh. I was saying all about the pugs, by the way. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
those poor things. But then I just was like looking up the Pomeranian.
Oh my God, it's a pomegranate.
I'm gonna be real. I'm like, if I got a Pomeranian, I'm naming it Bakugo.
Oh my God.
What the fuck is this thing? Look at this. Look at this little fur ball. Hold on, let me expand the. Just give that. This little fur ball. This thing is a literal ball of fluff. Oh my god.
It really is.
You better, you better get out of here. I've got a German Shepherd. I ain't scared of no dog. Oh, what?
Yeah, that's what I was laughing at. That's pretty good.
Oh man.
You know those like beware of dog signs?
Yeah.
I want to get one, but it's beware of Sneck.
I would also like. I wouldn't mind one of these, but it's like even though it's a small dog, it's a very hyper.
Oh, beagles! That was Aiden's favorite dog for a long time.
They're so cute. I will not
I actually,
lie.
I actually saw one yesterday. I went to take the old lamps from Monty's lights out to the
Oh.
It's so true.
Oh.
I went to take the old lamps out to the garbage, and when I came back in, there was a couple with a beagle standing at the elevator, and I went, "Aw, hi there, puppy," because the puppy looked really excited to see me, and I was like, "Hello, puppy," as I walked by, and then as soon as I opened the door, I went, "Kiwi, there's a dog in the hallway." I just like to imagine that's all they heard as I closed the door behind me.
And then just wondering, it's like, what the fuck is a kiwi?
Just imagine I have a little kiwi bird.
Oh man. But yeah, I'm like, if I got like a small apartment somewhere, I would want either a corgi or a beagle, but a beagle is still very much an like very active dog, so maybe not.
Beagles are so cute.
Huh. What would I name a beagle?
So my favorite dog and Aiden's I don't know if it's still his favorite dog or not,
Mm-hmm.
but the beagle. They are our favorite dogs, because of Webkinz World.
Ah.
My very first Webkins was a German Shepherd named Lou, and I still have her to this day. I'm holding her right now.
Oh.
And Aiden's first was a beagle named Tiny,
Oh.
named after a dog from a feature films for families, like some Christian fucking filmmaking place.
Mm.
They made a film called The Seventh Brother, and it featured a dog named Tiny. It wasn't a beagle, but it was like a dog that got separated from his person and ended up living out in the woods with some rabbits,
Yeah.
and he got sick from eating not dog food for a while, so they had to go return him to the humans. And it was a good movie. It was cute, kids movies. I got the name Lou from Cats and Dogs, if you remember that movie.
That's why I want a beagle.
Yeah,
Is because
there was a beagle in there named Lou, and I love that name so
yes,
much.
that's why I want a beagle, is because of that movie.
So I have the German Shepherd named Lou, and Aiden has the beagle named Tiny.
Have you ever thought of naming a beagle dog Bagel? I'm not gonna lie and say that I did, and because I definitely did.
No, it's spelt Lou like that. So it
Yeah.
would be loser. There you go.
I'm trying to think. It's like, if I had a beagle, what would I name it?
I think the second Cats and Dogs movie had a German Shepherd in it, right?
I think so.
Another great movie that had a German Shepherd in it?
What?
Beverly Hills Chihuahua. You ever seen that one?
Yeah.
It was so good.
I don't.
Holy
I
shit.
don't want to name it Bagel the Beagle. I would.
Um, my I had a childhood friend who had a beagle, and her
Mhm.
name was Lady.
Oh, that's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Beware of this dog. Oh my god, I'm scared. That is pretty terrifying. I'm not gonna.
It's so frightening.
Oh man.
All right, I really have to go to the bathroom, so I'll be right
Okay.
back.
I mean, how much more do we have on this topic? If you want, we can go ahead and close out.
That is true. We could just do that, but I've had to pee for like 30 minutes.
Okay.
I don't think did I have anything else I wanted to talk about? Um, Rabbits. The fact that rabbits are pretty misunderstood animals because they're supposed to be kept as pairs, and yet people only and people only get one rabbit. That causes them to be stressed and sad, and they die. I was
Damn.
laughing at Rico's joke. Uh, yeah, I think that was about it.
Yeah. So I think we're good. We can go ahead and wrap up here. Let me just get the dog out of the face or wherever that is. I don't know. So yeah, that was this week's conversation about misunderstood animals, which then we started off very negative, and then we were like, you know what? Let's just talk about dogs and how cute they are.
Let's just talk about like.
I should have shown
cute.
cats too, because there are some cat breeds I would also love to raise.
Actually, they're not really breeds.
I'm just using the term breeds
as much as they are just like color patterns.
Yeah.
You know?
But people understand the term breeds.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like if I say that kiwi is a tortoiseshell, that just refers to like the color pattern, but it's kind of like a subset of calico.
Mm-hmm.
Or like calico and tortie are like kind of related. So kiwi and mavis are indeed related in some way. Orange cats are silly. My friend has an orange cat and he's so cute. His name is Apricot. And he has thumbs. But yeah.
Just for the record, this is most of the cats that I've had to deal with for the last couple years are tabbies.
Oh, tabbies are so cute.
That's pretty much, this is about the same pattern as what Socks was. Except
Mm-hmm.
with little white feet.
Kiwi was when I first saw Kiwi, she was in a crate with I think two other tabbies, and the names that the adoption center had given them were Blossom, Buttercup, and Bubbles,
Aww.
which are the names of the Powerpuff Girls. You want to know which one Kiwi was?
Which one?
She was Blossom.
I can believe that.
So, actually, I wanted to talk about where I got the name for Kiwi, despite the fact that she does not look like a fruit. Um, it's because we were at the adoption place. I don't remember why. I think we were like renewing tags, maybe, for the dogs. Um, but I had wandered into the cat room and there were a bunch of cats in there and I was like petting them because that's what I do. I pet the cats.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one that was for adoption and its name was Kiwi, and I don't know why, but that cat in particular just stuck with me. And I was like, "You know what? I'm going to name my cat after this cat." There we go.
Aww.
And now it's become a meme that her name is Kiwi Giwi. Yeah, Kyoko Kiwi Giwi Uwu. There we go. That's her name. Socks. I love socks.
Yeah.
Mavis
See,
has
she's.
socks. She was like really close to being called Socks, but
Aw.
she's Aiden's cat, so Aiden got to name her.
Yeah. She got the little white feet, which is why I called her socks, because it's like that's the joke for my family, is like the few times they've seen me without wearing socks, they like to joke that my feet are permanent socks.
There
Cause
was there was an orange and white cat on my street when I was younger. He's probably long dead now, unfortunately. Rest in peace. I believe his name was Puss in Boots, but I like to call him Whiskers. He looked like a Whiskers to me. He was the cutest little guy. Little Whiskers.
my
Where did
friends
Mavis
call me Whiskers, cause I'm curious like a cat.
Where did Mavis come from? You'll have to ask Aiden. It came from the Forbidden Anime.
Like, say, Star, would you rather, be freed from your terrible fate and reunite with, I don't know, get rid of all your social anxiety, or get hit by a train?
I'm scared of trains. I'll take the first option.
That was a reference to a YouTube short for like a D&D thing, and
Mm.
there it was really funny. Yes, Al, I am a Dragon Ball fan.
No, I think the brand is Whiskies. I was just thinking Whiskers because he had little whiskers. Little
You mean like
whiskers.
most cats have whiskers?
They got little whiskers.
All cats are whiskas.
They got little whiskers.
Mm-hmm.
Little whiskers. He looked like a whiskers to me.
Yeah. Wait, that's an actual thing? Corin being called Whiskers the Wonder Cat? I thought that was just a TFS joke. Damn, okay. Damn it, I'm trying to find something. I was trying to find the cat-themed baking pun. The one where it's like something about whiskers. I think it was something like, hey, why is it that cats aren't allowed to bake? And it's like, they got too many whiskers. It's not funny when I explain it, but damn it.
11 out of 25 subs. Maddie. I don't have money to gift subs. Maddie.
Let's see. Honestly, I'll be real. It's like, I feel like naming an animal is one of those things where it's like you can be like, oh, here's what I plan to name it, and then it's like you meet the animal, and then you're like, nah, this gets this name.
Yeah, like naming an animal is like naming a kid, you know, like
Yeah, you can be like, oh, I got the plan, and then it's like, I feel sorry for my
like
kid. I have the
like
most boring
Monty
last name.
Monty went from like he was either going to be called Monty the Python, or Noodle. Maybe he can be both. He could be Monty Noodle these nuts, you know? Ramen noodle. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
noodle, short for ramen noodle. There we go. All right, that's the name of my next snake.
Imagine you have it all figured out and then it gets a name like Morgana. Are we talking about a cat, an animal, or are we talking about me having a kid? Because that's my last. That was my last complaint. It's like if I had a kid, I'd be like, "What name do I give you? My last name is so boring." At least Stars is at least interesting.
Ugh. Morgana, huh? That sounds familiar.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's a Morgana? Boom, 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 boom.
Is it? Is my name fun?
I think it is.
Oh, well, thank you. You had to
It's
watch
like
me sign it like 15 times today.
it's like it's one of those names that you don't see a lot, so it's like it's got like spice to it, basically. Mine's like so fucking
Spice.
boring.
Feels regal.
I'm obviously not gonna say
apparently.
it on stream, but it's
Yeah,
just like
don't say it on stream. I kind of forget what yours was, but yeah.
yeah, it's a very common name, so it's like really it's one of those names where it's like you could name your kid anything and it would go with it, kind of.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I was born, because my mom and dad had a bet. It's if I was a girl, then she would get to name me, and if I was a boy, then my dad would get to name me. Obviously I'm a girl, so my mom got to name me, and she picked out my name, and my dad was like, because like the other half of the bet was like she gets first name, he gets middle name, and then vice versa. So he had to come up with a middle name and for my name, and I'm not going to say what it is, but I will tell you he spent 3 days trying to come up with a middle name that flows well.
Oh shit, that's right.
And
We have to come up with middle names too. Damn it. Look, that's a little too much. I'll
you can just stick to one name, you know, like
like I get it. The idea is like they don't want to have a bunch of John Smiths or Mary Sues running around. So we got to have Mary L. Sue. We got to have John W. Smith.
yeah.
Ugh.
Fig likes to laugh at my middle name a lot. Apparently it's way too white. You know, it's like crazy.
I'll just be like, if for some reason I ever get married, I'm gonna be like, all right, look, we'll both pick a name, and then we'll put it in a hat, and that's how this will work. Yes, so we're gonna have a son named Shelly J. God, he's gonna get bullied in school, and we're just gonna say, look, it wasn't our fault, it was the hat.
It was the hat.
Shelly J says, fuck that hat.
Jarred.
Oh man.
My initials would be HA, but with the fucking yeah, my fucking initials are Ha. But with the middle name it's Haka, you know, like
Hakai.
Haka.
Oh man.
And if you put the first initial of my brother's with mine, like it becomes Aha, you know, like
I knew it.
like,
you guys are the Aeons of what the Elation. That's what it was.
because like
From
they both
HSR.
their names start with an A and mine's an H and I'm in the middle. It's Aha. There we go. We're the band Aha. We're gonna do a cover of Take on Me. Just you wait.
I don't know. Okay,
all right, I still have to pee.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and close up. I think we're done. Okay, guys, thank you all for being here. Don't know when the next time we're actually gonna do this is, because our track record right now is not great.
Yeah.
But next time, I think it might still just be a short topic, but I'm thinking about doing topic over subs and dubs of anime.
Ooh.
Because I think that would be, even if it's only like an hour-long discussion, I think it's such a fun one.
Yeah, that sounds like a good discussion.
So thank you guys for coming out. Hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we will catch you guys in another one. Who am I rating today?
Don't forget to sub to Fox so he plays Persona 3.
That's paid subs on Twitch, though.
Don't forget to sub to Fox on Twitch so that he plays Persona 3.